Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking the best amulet accessories in Baldur's Gate 3 on a tier list. So I have 17 of some of the best amulets in this game and I'll be talking about where they belong on this tier list. And the first one we got is the Amulet of Lost Voices. This allows you to cast Speak with the Dead once per long rest. Now this is probably the first amulet that you're going to get, because if you go to get Withers you're going to get this as well. And it's a very powerful amulet because Speak with the Dead is a level 3 spell and you're not going to get it until much later on in the game. So having this amulet means you don't have to ever take that spell because you can just long rest and do this again. So I'm actually going to put the Amulet of Lost Voices in the A tier because Speak with the Dead is an extremely fun spell to use. Now, if you want to use this on a target that you accidentally taken out, and they won't talk to you if you're the one that killed them, so you can use this amulet and then you can use Disguise Self and then use this amulet to be able to speak with them. You get a lot of really cool interaction in this game. I'd recommend trying this on a lot of different targets, and there's even certain parts in the game in Act 2 where you can use this on like a pile of corpses and get some cool interaction. So very useful because it just frees up a level 3 spell. Next we got the Amulet of Misty Step. This is another one that we can get extremely early on in the game, and it might be one that you keep on for a majority of the game. If you're playing as a fighter or a barbarian, having Misty Step is really good mobility. And now Githyanki's will get Misty Step naturally, but that's only for really Lae'zel and if you play as a Githyanki. So Misty Step being one of the best level 2 spells because it's basically a teleport out of there, get out of jail free card. This amulet I'm also going to put in the A tier. It could go S tier because Misty Step is such an underrated spell. And getting it from a necklace is awesome as well. So I'm going to put it in the A tier. You get this early on at the Defiled Temple, so you can get this early, make a lot of use out of it. It's definitely an A tier one. It's solid. It could even go S tier. It just brings a lot of benefit to the party. So next we have the Absolute's Talisman. So what this does is if the wearer bears the Absolute brand, they have advantage on death saving throws. Not a huge benefit, but it also has the Absolute's Talisman Aid, which gives you a level 2 free casting of Aid. The only downside is it does require you to keep the amulet on, so you can't just cast Aid and then take it off, which is kind of unfortunate. So for that, I'm going to put it in the C tier. Because Aid, you can actually have a hireling or someone at camp upcast Aid on your entire party, disassign them from the party, and then 3 of your teammates are going to have Aid. So while it is a nice effect, it could be useful early on to give you a little bit of extra temporary health. It just gets outclassed really quickly, so it goes in the C tier. Next, we got the Amulet of Greater Health. This is an incredible item, and I personally think this is probably the best amulet in the game. Now, what this does is it sets your Constitution score to 23. In addition, it gives you advantage on Constitution saving throw proficiency, which is pretty much every concentration on a spell, you'll have advantage. So you'll roll 2 die instead of 1, making it extremely effective on spellcasters. Now, one of the coolest interactions, I think, is if you have, let's say, a wizard or a squishy class. Let's go wizard. You can take 1 level of barbarian, start with barbarian, 1 level of barbarian. That gives you Constitution saving throw proficiency. On top of that, this will also give you the Constitution defense from barbarian. So you get a +6 to your armor class if you're wearing clothing. So you can wear like the Cloak of the Weave, which gives you a +2. You'll get a +6 from this amulet and a +2. So you got +8 to your armor class without even having to do anything but equip this. So easy S tier. This is the best amulet in the game by far. So yeah. Next we got the Amulet of Bhaal. Now this is an amulet that's actually pretty important in the overall story of the game. This has an effect that'll give you bleed on attack if the target has full health points, which is pretty nice. Bleed will deal an additional 1d, I think it's 1 to 2 damage, no, 2 damage per turn at the start of turn. So it's actually a pretty decent effect to have the bleed on there. Also, if you have a barbarian wild heart, they can have the aspect of the Wolverine, which if you attack a bleeding target, you'll maim them, giving them 0 movement speed. So it actually pairs very well if you have a barbarian. You can go around cleaving and get this effect. The barbarian will typically, if you go with the tiger heart, will have bleed as well. I would say the Amulet of Bhaal is pretty good. The bleed on attack's pretty nice, but it doesn't end up translating to much benefit, really. I do like using it a lot, but I'm still going to only put it in the B tier because some of the other amulets just bring a bit more benefit. This is the only, like, legendary amulet in the game, too, and it's required for the story, so it's one you're probably going to get at some point. Next, we got the Surgeon's Subjugation Amulet, and what this does is whenever you get a critical hit on a target, you can choose with your reaction to paralyze the target, which is really nice because they just stay in place. It's basically a hold person. This is a pretty good amulet. I'm going to put it up into the A tier because you're likely going to have the illithid ability. If you choose to use the brain worms and tadpoles, you'll likely have the free critical hit from the Luck of the Far Realms. And then you can pair it with that to paralyze the target, and that can really help with a lot of encounters. So I think it's probably like an A tier option. It could even be S tier in certain application, but we're going to put it in the A tier just to be safe there. Now, next, this is an amulet that looks like a lot of other ones, but this is the Spell Savant amulet, or Spell Savant amulet. So what this does is it gives you an additional level 2 spell slot. Now, we can cheese the game with this. If you have a sorcerer, give this to them. Convert your level 2 spell slots into sorcery points, unequipped, re-equipped, convert those 2 points into sorcery points, keep doing that. You'll have a ton of sorcery points that you can turn back into spell slots. So you can turn these level 2 spell slots into a level 6 spell slot. Really nice. If you don't cheese it, it's probably like a B tier. Level 2 spell slot's nice, but it's not going to be a game changer. But if you do cheese it, it's S tier because having unlimited sorcery points is nice. But you can also use the Shield of the Devout to get the same effect. It's just a level 1 spell instead of level 2 spells. So this one's a lot quicker if you have that sorcerer. So yeah, on a sorcerer, S tier. Everyone else, probably about B tier. Next, we have the Sentient Amulet. This is cool. There's 2 versions of it. This is actually really funny because it has a quest associated to this. So you initially can get this in the adamantine chest near the lava elemental in the Grimforge. What this does is it gives you a level 2 casting of Shatter, but the biggest benefit to the Sentient Amulet is you can get key restoration, so it'll give you 2 key points back. Then it also has a spell, or it has a quest line attached to it as well. So whenever you wear the amulet, you have to succeed a wisdom saving throw of 10 to 15 DC, or you get Tasha's Hideous Laughter for 1 turn. So this will make you laugh. The better version of this, whenever you complete the quest line, gives you a better version of the key restoration. It's a very good amulet. I'm going to put it up in the A tier as well. The lesser version that makes you laugh isn't as good. I'll be clear on that. But the very rare version, the purple one, is a lot better because it gives you a level 3 version of Shatter, and it gives you a greater key restoration, which will give you a much greater amount of key points equal to your martial arts die. So that is good. The greater version is probably S tier for monks. Yeah, we'll maybe put it, the greater version is definitely an S tier because monks really rely on their key points, and you definitely want to have that if you have a monk on your team. Next, we got the Spell Crux amulet. So this is a very rare amulet that allows you to restore 1 spell slot. That's really good because spell slots are everything for casters. So this can only be done once per long rest, and it's a bonus action. So probably best to be done outside of combat, but even in combat, a free spell slot restoration is extremely useful. I got to put that in the S tier because, hey, level 6 spell slots can do a lot for your team. This pairs well with the, actually, it doesn't say it on here, but I believe it might only be up to level 4. It says any level, but yeah, no, it should be level 6. It can also work on the Warlock spell slots. I did have some issues with it at times, but yeah, it should be up to a level 6 spell slot. But there's also this stat stick, or there's 2 staves that you can get in Act 3 that give you a free cast of any spell. So you can go Chain Lightning, Chain Lightning, Chain Lightning, refresh with the amulet, Chain Lightning. There's 4 Chain Lightnings. 2 turns in a sorcerer, that's everyone dead. So very useful. Next, we have Khaled's Gift. This is from Khaled from Baldur's Gate 1. He gave to Jaheira, and rest in peace, Khaled. But what this does is it gives you, if Jaheira wears it, she can't be cursed. But it also gives you a +1 to Wisdom, up to 21. So that's nice because it can give you, if you took 17 Wisdom, you can wear this, and it'll give you 18. And then you can take 2 ability score improved to take up to 20. So only 1 level to get up there. Anything that gives you increased stats is worth its weight in gold. I would say it's probably S tier. It also gives you Khaled's Gift Aid, which is a level 3 spell of Aid for free. So on top of giving you more wisdom, it gives you free aid. I would say that's some people underrate this, I think, because that is seriously so good. Getting a free level 3 aid to upcast your health is really nice, but also giving that +1 to wisdom works really well on any cleric or any druid, really. Rangers make big benefit of that, so really good. Next, we got 3 amulets in a row that all look similar. The first one is the Amulet of Restoration. So what this does is it gives you level 1 Healing Word bonus action per long rest, and level 3 Mass Healing Word per long rest. I always just have this around. If you don't want to use potions, give it to someone, heal your team, unequip it. It's probably top of the B tier. You're not going to use this often in combat, but it's still nice to have it just if you don't want to use up potions too much. Although, there is a ton of potions in this game, so don't feel like you have to hoard them. Also, you can throw a potion on the ground and make it splash and get everyone with the healing effects. Don't throw the potion at someone, though, because it will hurt them. But if you throw it on the ground, you can get a splash. That's beside the point. This is a pretty decent amulet to heal people, so it's kind of like a just equip it, use it, unequip it. Pretty decent, B tier. Next, we got the Necklace of Elemental Augmentation. So what this does is whenever one of your cantrips deal acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage, it adds your spellcasting modifier to the damage. Early on in the game, this is pretty good because you can get this at the Crux. So very early on in Act 1, you can get this amulet and it'll help out with your damage. Now, one thing, it doesn't impact force damage. If it did, Eldritch Blast would go bananas, and so would Magic Missile. So, or I guess Magic Missile is also a cantrip, but Eldritch Blast would go nuts. Adding your spellcasting modifier, it's like an extra 3 or 4 damage depending on where you're at Act 1. It's going to be replaced, but it's not bad. I would probably put it bottom of B tier, maybe C tier, somewhere around there. Getting extra spellcasting modifier on your damage is always a nice thing. Like, I won't say it's a bad amulet, but it's just, it gets outclassed pretty early on. Next, we got the Broodmother's Revenge. So, whenever the wearer is healed, their weapon becomes coated in magic and deals an additional 1d6 poison damage. Now, poison damage is the worst damage type in this game, because everything in its mother resists it. But what's nice about this is it actually gets triggered. Like, if you have the Helm of Baldur, which heals you for 2 at the start of each turn, you'll continually proc this additional 1d6 of poison damage every single turn. So, for that, it's pretty good. But in Act 3, you're likely not going to use this amulet because this is an Act 1 amulet. You get it early on in the game. But you can also get it in Act 3 if you didn't get it in Act 1, so I like that about it. Yeah, I'll probably put a B tier because it's not bad. It's probably a little bit better than the other one there, the Elemental Augmentation Amulet. I would say that this is good if you have... There's also the Ring of Regeneration that'll heal you each turn. But... yeah, it's nice to get an additional 1d6 poison damage, but that's common resistance, so it's probably like 1d3 for most combat situations, so not as amazing. Now, we got another banger of an amulet with the Amulet of the Devout. This is a rare one, and it's another good one for clerics, because it gives you a free channel divinity charge. So, if you have a Tempest cleric, that means that your lightning spells will be able to deal maximum damage again, which is awesome because that is super powerful. So this also gives you a +2 to spell save DC, so you're more likely to hit your spells. So hold person, anything like that is going to have a higher die roll that the enemy has to have to be able to resist it. I think this is definitely an S tier. On clerics, it's very useful because that extra channel divinity can mean a big difference in certain instances. But even so, +2 to spell save DC is also really nice because that means the enemy has to roll 2 higher to resist your crowd control. So, very good. Or also for damage. That is awesome. So next we got the Psychic Spark. What this does is it gives you a free level 1 casting of Magic Missile. Woo! Not awesome. But what it does awesome is it gives you 1 extra missile on your Magic Missile. Some builds actually work around this very well. So, I would say it's probably... it's hard to say. I'd probably put it in the B tier. Might move Amulet of Bhaal up a little bit there. The bleed is nice for certain builds, but Psychic Spark, additional Magic Missile can be built around. So if you're going with like a wizard build that's focusing on Magic Missile, this is kind of essential to you. So I'd put it in the B tier. It's not the worst amulet, it's not the best. Next, we got the Amulet of the Unworthy. So what this does, you get this from the Minotaur in the Underdark. It's really nice. But it gives you resistance to slashing damage, which is pretty common. Like, there's a lot of sword users that give you slashing damage. But it gives you vulnerability to bludgeoning damage. So, yeah, you'll take double damage from hammers. Makes you like a skeleton. I want to put this in a D tier because it gives you a negative. It's nice to have resistance to slashing. Especially if you know the combat encounter is going to just have slashing damage. You can use this to your advantage. But I feel like for the most part, having 1 extra character have slashing resistance isn't that huge. You can always have like a barbarian if you really want to have damage resistance. So yeah, I'd say it's probably D tier. Not the best item. Now, we also got another one here with the Amulet of Selune's Chosen. So what this gives is a free cast of Selune's Dream. This is gotten by Dror Ragslin in Act 1, so it's really early on. Most people end up getting this, I find. Salune's Dream, what does this do? It gives you health points. It gives you a 1d8 of healing, so you can heal a measly little 1 health point. And you have to succeed a 10 DC Constitution saving throw or fall asleep. So for that, I would probably say it's also D tier. Just not that great overall, because if you go to sleep, you're pretty useless. Sleep gives advantage on attack rolls to the enemy, and if the attacker's within 1.5 meters, it's a critical hit. You don't want that. So there it is for the amulets in Baldur's Gate 3. There's some really good ones here, and a couple that are just not amazing, but Amulet of Greater Health is by far the best amulet. Once you get this, you're never taking it off. I guarantee you that, because you can dump Constitution, put those points into something more useful. So whenever you get this, whoever's using it should take, if you're using it on like a spellcaster, get them that unarmed defense or barbarian. Starting with barbarian will also give you that Constitution saving throw proficiency, so you're never going to fail your concentrations. You're going to have a bunch of armor class while wearing clothing, and you'll have a lot of health. It's easily the best in this game. So yeah, there it is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. There's a lot of amulets. They have a lot of different effects, and some of them you might even view differently than me. So I like talking about these things. So feel free to hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.